Hello and welcome to this session where we talk about crafting an attention-grabbing book title. Hello, my name is Chinyere Ezibe Adeyemo. I am going to be your coach on this journey. Welcome to this session. How do we craft an attention-grabbing title? It is important for you to understand that the title of your book is the name of your book. Therefore, it must possess some qualities that when your book title is mentioned, it excites your listeners, your audience, and it grabs people's attention. It gets them thinking, it gets them wanting to find out more about the book, it gets them wanting to read your book. And so, in this session, I am here to show you how you can craft an attention grabbing title, a title that will get people asking for your book, wanting to know more about your book. You see that when a man is walking down the street and he finds an attractive girl, he can't help himself. As he's coming and looking at the girl, when he passes the girl, after going further to an extent, he will want to look back so that he completes the whole view, right? So that is how it is for your book. When your audience hear the title of your book, it is important for them to give it a second look, a second thought. And that is what we are going to do here, crafting the type of title that will get your audience wanting to know more about your book. All right. So an attention grabbing title has to have some features or some elements that will make them attention grabbing. All right. The first one is your book title has to be appropriate with the content of your book, because I am using that point as the first one so that we don't get too far into crafting an attention grabbing title and then we get to a point and we have to start the whole process afresh. So the very first one is that your book title has to be appropriate with the content in your book. You don't want to write a book about building a happy home and you are titling it How to Make $1 Million in 1 month. You see that there is no correlation. So your book title must be appropriate to the content in the book. If you're going to be teaching your audience how to find peace or reconcile with God within 10 days, then there should be a breakdown of how your audience will get reconciled with God. Or if you want them to start a fashion business in 1 month, there should be a breakdown on how to start a fashion business in 1 month. So your book title has to be appropriate to the content in your book. Number two, your book title has to be memorable. It has to be a title that hits the audience in such a way that they cannot forget it. Let's say you look thinking of Napoleon Hill and you think of his book title, Think and Grow Rich. You know that even if after some time you cannot remember the correct book title, but you remember that it has something to do with thinking and growing rich, right? So that is how your book is supposed to be. Your book is supposed to be such that when your audience, when customers, when your friends and family, when they get to come in contact with your book title, they can't forget it. The theme of your book is at the back of their subconsciousness. All right. For instance, my book, You Owe the World a Book. Hence, you have come in contact with me and heard about the book, You Owe the World a Book. You can never forget it because it tells you something, and you will always remember that I wrote a book that reminds you of the fact that you owe the world a book. So even if you don't remember the correct title, you would remember the implied title or the theme of the book. So number two, your second point to crafting an attention grabbing title is that it has to be memorable. Number three, there must be a connection between your book and your audience. All right, there must be a connection. Your audience must feel as if you are telling them something. Even if your book is a one-word titled book, your audience must feel as if you're telling them something. Look at this title, Broken. The book title, Broken, once somebody picks it, the person can almost imagine what the book is trying to tell them. Could it be heartbreak? Could it be abuse? What could make somebody be broken? All right. Now, if you think of Jerry Perkins' book, Left Behind, you'll be wondering, left behind where? Did the family travel and they left them behind? What happened? Could it be the rapture? You see, so your book title has to be able to connect or speak to your audience. All right. At this point, I'm going to make us do an exercise. Make a list of 7 book titles that have impacted your life and you cannot forget them. Make a list of 7 book titles that you cannot forget. All right. Then, as you are writing them, throw your own book title in the mix and see how it comes out. Okay, I'm going to do that exercise now so that you understand what I'm talking about. All right. Some of the books that I cannot forget, some books that have impacted my life, I'm going to mention them down now and then throw my own book title in the midst so that you know how it feels. All right? Think and Grow Rich. Woman, thou art loosed. Think like a man and act like a woman. The richest man in Babylon. You owe the world a book. Rich dad and poor dad. Awakening the sleeping giants within. Things fall apart. You owe the world a book. The 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. All right, so you can see that altogether, how many book titles did I list here? You see that in between, I threw my book title in twice so that I see whether it grabs the same level of attention as these award-winning book titles. Okay, so you're going to do that assignment. As I move forward, keep thinking about it. Let me move forward to the other points that your book title should have. Number 4, your book title should tell a story. So what I'm saying basically here is, when somebody comes in contact with your book title, they must begin to imagine something that you're trying to tell them. So it is like having a connection. All right. In number 3, I said your book title must have a connection. But this one now, it is not just connection with the person, but there must be an element of storytelling so that the person is already thinking of what you are trying to imply, what story is going to follow. So a story is already building in your audience's mind. Okay. So let your book title tell a story. Think and Grow Rich. You're already imagining what that might mean. Okay. The purple hibiscus. You're trying to imagine, okay, what's special about the purple hibiscus? All right, what would this book be trying to tell me? Things fall apart. Think about it. Think like a man and act like a woman. You're already like, all right. So that is one element that your book title must possess. Number 5, create a contrast in your titles. Okay, in this case, you have like 2 parallel terms that kind of create a contrast in the book title. Imagine moving from point A to B. A, B. So you're already like, okay, you can imagine. Or the A to Z of book publishing, you're like, okay, the A to Z of book publishing. All right. So when you have something like think like a man, act like a woman, you're like, okay, so you consider the option of either using your book title to tell a story, or you make it have an element of contrast that also builds up a story. All right. Then number 5, you can use a statement of fact. A statement of fact. Imagine, woman, thou art lost. Okay, if you are a Christian, then your mind goes to the situation of Jesus by the well with the woman, and you are like, okay, what can they be saying beyond that? Because yes, Jesus said, woman, thou art lost, and she was lost. But what next? All right. So a statement of fact like that can draw your audience curiosity and then grab their attention. Okay. Another option again is in number 6, you use the how to. Usually, a lot of time you find how to types of titles being used as subtitles, but also you can also use the how to as your title. How to make friends and build influence. How to build your immune system in 21 days through dieting. How to lose so number of pounds in 1 month. So the how to book title, that is also an element in book titling that can help in building a title that grabs your target audience attention. We've talked about the A to Z method, the from zero to shiro, the from fear to faith, and so on. These are all elements that when they are employed in the titling of your book, they grab the attention of the audience and they make the audience want to read your book. All right. So don't just go on to title your book anyhow. You must give your book title a lot of thought. It's like a parent who has a child. You know how important a name is. So before the child is born, the parents keep thinking about names that appropriately describe their child. And it is important also to give them such names that will help them in the future, that will help them to thrive. So that is how it is also with book titling. You cannot afford to title your book without giving it some thought. So if you look at all these points I have listed here, they will help you in giving your book a great title. Number 1, make your book title to be appropriate to the content of your book. Number 2, make that book title to be memorable, such that somebody, if they cannot remember the exact title, they would remember what it implies, what it means. Number 3, let your book title connect with people. Let people, once they hear your book title, they feel a connection as if you are talking to them. All right. Number 4, let your book title tell a story. Your book title can be something that when your audience hear it, they are already imagining what that might mean. Okay. So your book title can also have an element of contrast, like you use like 2 opposite words to put them side by side. For instance, moving from fear to faith. moving from zero to hero. So that can also be an element that is found in your book title. It will create some attention, it will grab attention and make it attractive. Okay, you can also look at the how-to method. That is a method that easily shows your audience what they are expecting to get from your book, how to move from point A to Z in your business, how the A to Z of building a business. You know, all those kind of topics grab attention and make your target audience want to see the solution that you have for them. Okay, so your assignment in this particular section is for you to make a list of 7 books that have influenced you, 7 books that you cannot forget that have had a lot of impact in your life. So at this point, we would have already seen the area of your business that you want to write a book on. We would have seen your prospective titles. So now you are going to throw in those prospective titles into the 7 titles that you have listed as books that have impacted you in life. So you throw those titles in there and you send it to me so that we look at them and see how well your book title fits among the award-winning book titles. All right, so thank you very much for listening to this video and see you in the next one.